all the way back, baby.
Yeah, and if we say book your hotel, you book your hotel. But my lord, I have soiled myself.
What do you mean by live? Genuine live? Hello, radio!
And now, another episode of The Way We HNC. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, who knows what time it is with you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of The Way We HNC It. It has been a fantastic weekend of flag football here in Scotland. Flag and New Year has been and gone. The flag football season for 2025 is officially underway. My name is Bez. It is a joy to be with you, and I am joined as always by my erstwhile co-host, Mr. Stuart Anderson. Good evening, Tree. How are you?
Hi, Bez. I'm very well, thank you very much. I got to play flag at the weekend, which was quite a rare feat these days. I'm doing all right, man. How's things your end? Although that is a more important question. No one needs to know how I am. Bez, how are you? There was a lot of concerned people for your health and well-being over the weekend. How are you?
There was, and I am fine. Thank you very much.
Okay, good.
Yes, all good. And yes, thank you to everyone who did reach out over the last couple of days to check on my noggin. It is still in one piece and touching wood, which the boys can see. It seems to be going fine. And of course, I said boys, that's plural because we are joined by Chair of Scoff, Flagging New Year founder and organizer and competition lead for the Women's Flag Football League, Coach Alan Young, amongst other titles.
Woo! Yeah. I mean, there's still more we could keep going with, right? GB,
Please don't.
All that kind of stuff. Yeah, we just keep reeling them.
It's like when they introduce royalty and they give them every single title that they've got, and there's like a bunch you've never heard of. That'd be a good one. We could do that to Alan next time he comes on.
It's illegal not to use "sir." You've got
and
to. It's that type of
we could slip one in that's not true and see if anyone notices.
Two truths and a lie.
Yeah.
It was when we were doing our tender application for Scoff last year. Bigham had me put a list of everything I did in flag football, and I just kept remembering things. It's just been stupid. Stupid 25 years in this sport. Stupid.
Yeah, it has indeed. So yes, how are you, Alan? Have you recovered from the weekend?
Yeah, my feet have just about recovered. I didn't realise on Saturday I never sat down at any point across the 12 and a half hours of competition, so being a largely obese man on my tiny feet for, well, they're not tiny, but compared to my belly, they're tiny, for 12 and a half hours just absolutely ruined them. They're just throbbing, just absolutely. They looked like the feet of an athlete, but without any of the athleticism. It was a long day, but it was amazing. And part of the reason it was my feet is that I was enjoying watching the football and walking between pitches and dealing with injuries. But it was a great day. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
It really was.
You need to get yourself a Bez car mat. Apparently, those at Winter League women's they come very handy for keeping the cold off your tootsies.
That's the classic.
When you're standing around.
That's the classic up on the balcony. You will see you'll see them again at some point. The the textbook little car mats when you're standing on the concrete in the winter prevents the cold going up the back of your legs.
Oh, nice.
There you go. You can have that one for free. And yeah, on the subject of the injuries, shout out to Shan and Debbie from St Andrew's First Aid, who were kept very busy over the course of the weekend.
Yes.
Hopefully, everyone out there that did pick up a knock or a strain or a bash or get the bell rung like myself is recovering well back at home. I got home safe.
Little injury stat. So Shan did last year as well. So this is not her first rodeo. She had 17 injuries that she had to record last year for the whole tournament.
Oh, she must have had more on Saturday, surely.
Yeah, she was past that in the Saturday alone this year.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It was a wild day, and I think it's just like the speed of competition's increased and first time out for a lot of people. We're here in Scotland, we're hardly we continue to train through Winter League and play and stuff. Other countries take a lot of time off, and maybe just not quite as.
I think as well, I was thinking about this. Like, I spoke to Shannon Debbie as well, and I was kind of, don't tell me anyone's medical history, but like, I was like, I think it's partly because people won't have played for quite a while. And she said that's what they were saying. That's what a lot of people were saying to them. And then it wasn't until I actually got home that I was thinking about, like, if you don't have access to like Winter League and didn't make finals, potentially your last like competitive action was July.
Yeah, I think the other thing I would add is like warm-ups as well, particularly. There wasn't a lot of team like properly warming up between games too. And I think with the 2-day durations, like the cooldown, the body effect, like how's that look into like your
Yeah.
next game? Are you prepared for it? Is your body too tired? Are you overtired? There's a lot of physicality in that 2-day event, without discounting Flag Arma, which is much tougher. Like this is still 2 days for a lot of guys were coming in. Like I know for the Stallions were just sore day 2 and didn't play. I was like, well, I'll come along. And I was like, I was fresh as a daisy. I felt great. But again, it still didn't warm up as you would, like throwing the ball without warming up as QB. I'm like, this is not ideal.
What was
So there could be a
interesting
bit of that.
though, is the venue was warmer than last year.
It was
because
actually,
the
yeah.
roof was repaired and outside wasn't as cold. So in some ways, it should have been slightly easier to get heat through the bones and stuff. But yeah, a lot of knocks. But yeah, Shannon Debbie did a great job, and they enjoyed it so much that they have signed up for Ironman and the women's finals. So we will see them around
again.
the sport again.
Oh, okay. I might have to grab them a box of chocolates or something, because they were great. Like they were really great dealing with me, and came and said hi on the Sunday and stuff.
Because how many years has Flag in the Year been at Ravenscraig now?
So the first one that went to Ravenscraig was the outdoor one, I think.
Outside.
I remember that one, yeah. That would have been the first one.
19?
2019?
I think that was
2019.
It's definitely before COVID, I think.
Yeah, because we also got to run. I think it was 2019 or 2018. I can't remember.
Somewhere about there. So I want to put a public service announcement to all flag football players, Alan, and you might agree with me here, Bez. Know when the grass stops. Gonna just go onto the concrete for me and slip on your butt. The amount of players I saw, like feet going away from them, it's like, how long have we played at this venue, guys? Preventative actions. Don't go on the concrete.
Know where the end is. Yeah.
Know where the grass ends. And now
I blame.
don't go any further.
This might be
so many times that happened at the weekend.
This might be the defender in me talking, but I blame the quarterbacks. If they didn't throw it at the back of the,
Yes.
if they didn't throw it at the wall, then this wouldn't happen.
Can't say that.
So I'm outnumbered, but I can and I will. I'm outnumbered by quarterbacks, but I can and I will.
No, there's some terrible quarterbacks, including me, but I didn't play at the weekend, so it's not to blame for me.
It's off your.
I'm not
I
sure.
only played Sunday too, and I never had any instances of player falling on butt beds. So me and Alan are, tip top.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're fine.
Top two quarterbacks that were there.
Sure.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just bash on about things that happened. So obviously we'll start off, we'll say congratulations to the Glasgow Hornets. They won their first ever Flagging New Year title. David McAnally was exceptional all weekend. He's gone home. Someone decided it was a great idea to give him a sword, so he's gone home with an MVP trophy. We had the runners-up as the Silver Barbarians and Kalakaku. I think a team that everyone loves to watch prepare for games. Came in third as kind of recurring visitors. Is that their third time in a row? I think, Alan.
Just their second.
Just their second time in a row.
They last year when they left, they came and thanked me for running it and shook my hand and said they'd be back because they had unfinished business after losing to the Silver Lions in the quarters. So they've went one step further this year, going up into the third place. I did kind of feel watching the semi-final between them and the Hornets that was kind of the final.
You did have a bit of that vibe, didn't it?
A lot of us said that, actually, from even speaking to some other guys.
I will say that the Silver Barbarians played very well in the final, but the Dutch Mambas Glasgow had already beat, and the Silver Barbarians, I just think, not maybe experienced enough to deal with a team the calibre of Glasgow at this point. So I kind of did feel like when Glasgow won the semi-final, that would be it. But it was a great final, still.
It was a very good final. There were some very, very good plays made in that final. And yeah, no, by the time this goes out, I won't have finished chopping up the highlights. I've got through the quarterfinals, but I've still got the semi-final and the final to do to chop them up. Yeah, but so other than those three, if you could try and differentiate in your mind, Alan, when you were wandering around on Saturday,
Mhm.
who caught your eye?
Team-wise, Aerosol on the Saturday really caught my eye. The first game they had with the original Silver Lions, or the Silver Lions team, was fantastic. I think it finished a one-score game, but it was good fun back and forth. Ash made a wee pick that he wouldn't normally throw. I think the speed of the blitzer started to take its toll. Kind of was looking at Aerosols at that point, thinking, okay, this could be the team this year. But they fell to the Dutch Mambas in the quarterfinals. I think
They did.
from memory, which
yeah,
was
extra point shootout.
I bloody love an extra point shootout. I do.
There was a
We
few
had
of them
two.
on Sunday.
We
Like,
had two on Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, we started the day with the first round of games with an extra point shootout. It was good to know that the teams had read the rules. I didn't have to go over and remind them, honestly, that it was 3 out of 3 rather than just
Best
one.
of 3.
I just don't like one. One's too random. I like a bit more.
Yeah. It's cool as well because like if it's just 1-on-1, like one and done, teams often won't bother if they're on a different pitch. They won't bother walking over until it starts get going. Like there was an epic one in one of the. You guys might have been there. One of the King Bowls just after COVID in the women.
Yep.
It was the women's semi-final.
It was the women's semi-final. Yeah, on one of the pitches
on the middle pitch on the live stream pitch, and
we had just finished.
It ended up something like, I think it was like 14-13. It finished. It was crazy. But yeah, when it's 3-on, and that dragged everyone in slowly, right? Because like the longer it goes on, the more people are like, okay, it's worth going over. But yeah, 3-on-3 pulls people in. You know, they know they've got time to get over and get back. So.
And that first one, like it may be in the lowland bracket, nobody was overly bothered about it, but that very young Lancashire Bombers team was bothered about it. And I think first and 15 Mercs had 2 chances to put it away and did neither. And I don't know the young man's name, but I refer to him as a bit of a Dan Padley lookalike from the Lancashire Bombers.
Sam. I think his name's Sam.
Sam. I think he scored all 3 of their points. So he had a great game, and they'll remember that for a long time, stealing that one at the end.
The other one, the Aerosol game, I thought the Mambas had chucked it when they took a delay of game in an extra point shootout. Loss of down, obviously, tournament rules. I was just like, come, guys, like, I know that some of you are playing both ways and stuff, but you've got to be able to, like, you still get 20 seconds. And they were lined up for a good, because I was watching it back, and they were lined up for a good 5 or 6 seconds before the whistle. So
I just couldn't work out what they were doing. And then they threw the flag in, and I thought, surely that's not a delay game. Surely not. And then they went off the field, and I was like, oh yeah, it was. Excellent.
And then they came back in.
Aerosol had it at that point.
Yeah.
Good work by the Mambas.
That was crazy. Mambas went on semi-final where they bumped into the Silver Lions.
And that was a fun game as well, actually. But they were starting to fall apart physically, Mambas at that point.
Well, they lost 2 guys just in that extra point shoot. Or in that game.
Anyway.
Yeah, because they lost one at the back of the end zone and we had to move the pitch across.
Move the pitch over, yeah.
And then they lost one in the scoring play.
On the game-winning play.
Who would be a referee?
Who would be a referee in that situation?
Yeah.
That amphitheatre that is Ravenscraig.
And it was worse because obviously it had been moved to the middle pitch, so every pitch was waiting to get started anyway. So they just they all stood and watched.
Yeah, it's fab. I mean, I love an extra point shootout. Like, I love being in them. I love watching them. I think they're just great fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else? Any even individuals or other teams?
There was a lot of and you guys can maybe mention some people that you've seen across the weekend, but there's loads of players like my MVP list, as I've wondered about Saturday, was quite.
You almost needed a scroll.
It was quite long. Like, there was a lot of players, and I don't always know names, but number 4 for the Dutch Mambas was outstanding. I think number 0 also for the Dutch Mambas was very wiry and electric with the ball in his hand. He was wearing a kind of weird hat. And then you Glenn Fairweather of the Silver Lions looked fantastic at
Very
times.
good weekend.
Showing his mental toughness after dropping one in 4th down. He came back to make a couple of big boy plays later on. And then Akil for the Silver Barbarians was just looking phenomenal at times. And there was a pass in the semi-final that was thrown as if it had been a post he was running, but he was actually meant to be on a fly, and he somehow got across it and scored the touchdown with it. It was just tremendous.
So I saw that ball. I saw the ball in the air because I was on the other side, like the far side of the next pitch. So I was on like the wall side of pitch 1, and they were on pitch 2. And I saw the ball up and then disappear behind. I was the one standing on the sideline, and then just Akil appear where the crowd thinned out.
Yeah,
and everyone went nuts, and everyone was like lost their minds. And I was like, okay, it must just be like a deep shot. And it wasn't. I chatted to you afterwards that it was like it was not just a deep shot; it was like a deep shot with adjustment.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad throw by, well, it was a bad throw by George. I guess he had put it far too far inside, but not for Akil. He went and found it, really put a shift in. And he even blitzed in that game a couple of times. And watching his speed at you, I mean, he might not be the greatest tackler, but I don't like fast guys run at me at quarterback. And neither did the Dutch Mambas quarterback. So it was, he had a real impact. And then there were a couple of players for Kalikaku. And again, I think it was number 1 for Kalikaku. Really shone at times. There was so many big performances popping up that it kind of just got too right. I just need to track the top 8 and see how we progress and how we play. And then Jules in that semi-final.
Phenomenal.
That
I'm
going to be clipping that forever because
Andrew Gibson often refers to him as the big bad wolf, and I think that was just one of those plays. It's like, yeah, if the ball's near him, it's his.
He'd blown the house down.
There's a few that you got Bez. I think there's the one at the back over the top of the guys, and there was a one-hand catch at the far end of the field as well. That just casually, you would, that's a catch. There was you see what actually happened.
There was 3 plays over the weekend where, and I've spoken to Andy Keith, and he's spoken to me at length about this, about how like sometimes they just chuck the ball at you, and I happened to watch the ball come down at me through the camera as Jules went and got it. I happened to just be standing at the corner pylon as Jules caught it one-handed, and the extra point shootout winning play also came right down the barrel of the camera. Just happened to be standing there.
Nice positioning.
So there was quite a few as well that were like exceptional plays that I was on the wrong side for, and I have them, but I'm looking at someone's back rather than the player with the ball. But I got a couple. So
across the board, the Hornets were, like I was only there on Sunday, guys, so I can't comment on the Saturday, but I watched a few of the Hornets games on Sunday, and across the board, most of them are exceptional. From the plays that Cammy making over the top to his runs, like it's just phenomenal. And there was one I remember, particularly the Hornets Silver Lions game. Dr. Harper was just an absolute bloody menace at blitz and caused Ash no ends of problems. And that's what, by the ball going up in the air, surely due to his height and pressure, Maka and the defense are just right there to like swat it away, get the picks, and just get that position to to take the ball away from the Silver Lions completely, just prevent them to only 6 points. And I was all like watching Liam play. I was like, well, that having a quick, effective, smart blitzer can kill those kind of quarterbacks sometimes, eh? And that was my feedback from watching the Hornets is, oh my goodness gracious me.
The reverse of that, obviously, is watching George in the final. Obviously, Dr. Harper is referred to him, Liam. He's a phenomenal blitzer, Liam. Phenomenal. And he put George under a lot of pressure that other quarterbacks folded, but George stayed very poised, took his time.
Oh, he did.
Found his people, or he managed to get it away without any great impact. Liam, as the game went on, started to get fingers to the ball and started to have more of an impact, but I was so impressed with the composure of an 18-year-old.
You're still learning and developing, eh? Yeah. Especially the speed,
and
size,
to stand there
physicality.
as, the gold blitzer is coming at you.
And obviously, like the young man should take a lot of credit, the development itself, but the work that Neil Henderson's obviously done with him at the Sharks,
Yeah.
it's a testament to his knowledge and experience and what a fantastic coach he is.
Well, it was like when was it the 2023, because I didn't do it last year, 2023 Quake, where they came up, and George with the Sharks, and George was the starting quarterback for the Sharks that tournament. Yeah, like everyone in the building was like, oh boy, like he puts a bit on his frame, continues to do, because he would have been at best 17 at the time. You know,
Well, that's it. So he's
and
18,
continues to grow up,
but he's in
continues to sit with Neil, continues to play. This year he played a lot of Prem, won playoff games in the Prem.
Yeah.
Bright future for that young man. I was very glad to see him make his kind of Lions debut.
Well, that's it. He's 18, but because he joined the programme before we set up our under-21 silver team, we're just going to keep him in with the existing silver squad because he started there, so he'd already earned a spot, and I think that creates a space for someone else on the under-21 side of things to make their mark. So no, that was very impressive. But there were so many impressive performances. I was really looking forward to it going in, and it didn't disappoint. In fairness,
no, not at all.
Level was good. Nice competitive.
I was actually a little bit sad that because I was in the same group as them, I didn't get to see the game that was the Barbarians versus Dunboyne. I'm assuming that game was good because the Wildcats were very good fun to play against. Obviously, they went on their brand new team in the AFI Division 1, went on an absolute tear to the final, continued to develop in Ireland, but they were...
I mean, their quarter-final with Kalakaku was good as well. Like 18,
yeah, it was
12. There's two, I don't know their names, but the two mullets.
The mullets. So Matty O'Mara at quarterback and Finn Kearns was the wide receiver. Nice. Although they played both sides of the ball, but on offense.
They looked like two lads that could really make any team better, to be honest. So I'm hoping they seem to be keen to come back next year. They really enjoyed themselves, and Shamrock Shakes were one of the Irish teams. They came back saying we'll be back with a quarterback next year.
That helps.
Yeah, and they seem to they took it in good spirits though. I think their weekend, but yeah, I'm sure they'll be back kind of better armed.
Have a good time. They seem to have a good time.
Yes.
Talking of quarterbacks, Bez, your one wasn't too bad.
No,
a nice little human being to have at quarterback in your Murray Distillers.
Yeah, Peter Cochrane.
Unreal. It's effortless.
Irish international quarterback, and Neil Maxwell. They're normally seen suiting up for the Craigavon Cowboys, who didn't come over. But yeah, they answered the "we need a couple of players" call, along with plenty of people from.
As soon as I walked in, honestly, I walked in, I seen podcast game. I'm excited to play Bez. You weren't playing. I was like, oh
yeah.
Oh, why did I bother coming?
I wasn't playing.
I was like, I know that quarterback from somewhere. It's like, yeah, that's not the. I was like, and obviously I didn't let away who it was. Like, they're no normal quarterback. Like, he's good and it effortlessly flinging the ball around the field. Like, it didn't matter if it was like to the other end or like a 5-yard hitch. Effortless both. It didn't even look like he was trying. And what a difference maker having a quarterback like that happen. And just talking about Alan Shamrock's not having a QB, it makes a massive difference in a format like this. It's quick, it's formulated. You've only got limited time on the clock to know what you're playing against and read the defense. Having a guy like that is so helpful in so many ways in this format. You need to have that. And that's why I enjoy watching the Hornets play. Like, how many years have those guys been playing together now? Like, offensively and defensively, it'll be clicking. Like, teams like the Stallions, none of them play together. It's a mixed bag. No one knows the playbook fully. It's like, of course you're not going to have the same success because you're just not drilled into the same sort of like what you're meant to be doing, where you're going, the depth of a route, the reason why you're running something. It's just not there. And then you see the other teams that are drilled, and it's so noticeable from a QB getting that information out and then the players knowing what to do with that information.
That was what sets the difference. Very cool about like the team that, Murray is massive. Because we had, the core, like I've been to Distillers training, obviously played in the Prem. Like I know the Daves, know John and kind of Ziggy and the kind of core, but Chris Luden from Glasgow stepped in. We had James up from the Hammerheads. We had two boys. We had Neil and Pete over from Ireland. We had Lee up from Gunslingers. But there was like folk from everywhere, and I think it was obviously great for Pete to have Neil kind of his outlet as like the guy he knows is at center, but he did not like by any stretch key in on Neil. He spread the ball around. I think almost every single player that played a snap on offense scored over the weekend for us. And we had tried to write a playbook like in our group chat and kind of worked. And then it was also kind of just like, quarterback, right, you run this, you run this, you run that, see what happens, go. It was like the closest to like, kind of backyard, whiteboard, go nuts. It wasn't quite get open, but it wasn't far off at times.
Yeah.
But it was just really good fun. It was just
having
really
a
fun.
QB though that can like do that though.
Yeah.
Like run this and I'll look for you and I know and I'm confident and comfortable enough to do that. There's not many that can do, like maybe Neil Henderson, Neil Arnold, probably yourself, Alan. There's very few that have played long enough that could go, right, run an inside hitch. I know the kind of concept. They're going to run this deal. Like, if you do that, you'll likely get open. It's very rare, Bez, like you can get a quarterback that just can do it off the cuff and have a little bit of success. I mean, Sunday for you guys was pretty good. I obviously played together for a whole day by that point.
Last 4 games, we were 3-1.
Yeah, exactly. And it just as the day went on.
I think your Murray Massive have finished in the exact place that you'd expect a complete scratch team to finish. Yeah. You're right in the middle.
Middle of the
You're
pack.
the top of the bottom half.
Yeah.
Like that's not a bad weekend.
And it was not a bad weekend at all. And like we had a lot of fun. And I would, happily jump on board with anyone from the squad ever again. Hadn't played with half of them, hadn't met some of them.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Chris, this is Chris Loudon. I don't know if we class this. Last year was his rookie season, the oldest rookie in the league. But I've really enjoyed playing.
He was dynamite as well.
He's got such a safe pair of hands and just a genuine arrogance of that's my ball, thanks. Yep, yeah, that'll do.
It was quite funny actually, because it's funny you say that because we had probably the oldest rookie in the league in Chris, but then probably one of the outside of the Bomber squad, one of the youngest players in the team, and Noah Malloy.
Noah was playing.
So we had the full range. Middle of the pack. I had a brilliant weekend, and with those lads in that, there's already discussions about kind of Pete and Neil returning for either bringing a team or returning for some other shenanigans.
Well, it seems like this was the longest it's taken Flag and New Year to sell out in some time, and I think there's a number of reasons for that. Just the cost of everything is through the roof. But maybe teams just forgot how much fun it was. I'm not entirely sure, but there seems every team I spoke to fully intend to try and come back next year if they can. Again, do you think the tournament's safe?
The growth of Flag in Ireland is sending people. It seems like I remember when we first started, there was only the Cowboys, and they often had 7 or 8 players, and then obviously there was South Dublin for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And then this year, there was the Wildcats and the Shakes, and then
the Shakes kind of were South Dublin, to be fair.
Yeah,
and then a lot of crossover there. Yeah,
just without Joe, and then kind of Irish boys salted in to a number of other squads.
No, it's good, but also I think that the calendar's so congested now. Whereas before there was kind of only really the 4 kind of big tournaments. It was 3, and then I did Flag and New Year in with your King Bowl, your Big Bowl, and your Pink Bowl. But Pink Bowl seems to be kind of it's not gone. It's still a good tournament stuff, but it doesn't seem to be on the horizon as much for a lot of teams to make their way to. But there are other options through the year. There are other things going on now, and maybe it's just that kind of thing.
Do you think because obviously it affects like a relatively small population, a small percentage of the overall Flag population, but do you think that like I know maybe this is with your kind of GB hat on more than your well, a combination of hats actually. Do you think the relentless international calendar now impacts that?
Yeah, I think so. But when I took over the GB head coach role, it was meant to be Euros, Worlds, Euros, Worlds. That was the way it was meant to go. But because of the tumult in IFAF at the time, it was a bit disjointed.
Vikings.
Yes, Vikings. Let's not get into it. And then we had COVID, which created a bit of a break. But I think back then, I think I was doing 4 camps before the first World Championships I coached in. We did 4 camps, like 1 call, and that was kind of it. Whereas now, between selection and camps for this year, going into next year's, or this year's Euros, I should say, I think there's 6 camps planned, and we had to cancel the one in November due to one of the storms. I think it was Ernie, Bert, I can't remember. Whatever they called the storm in November last year. It is a rigorous calendar, and teams are doing more strength and conditioning stuff outside the camps, and they're doing more film work, and there is a huge amount of more prep on the very elite of the sport. I would say that's a fair point to make as
Yeah,
well.
I just kind of wondered if that then would like filter through to what tournaments
It
people are maybe willing to
definitely,
go to
the
as
cost of
their
the
club.
world is why we don't have any Swedish teams this year. Like the Swedes were interested, but just couldn't afford it based on what they'd paid out to go to Finland. They are looking into potentially trying to bring a kids team across, but again, just the cost
Cost
of it.
prohibitive.
It's I think the cost of everything just seems to be going up, so it's made it more. But it was a great tournament, and everybody wants to come back. I will keep running it. I did misspeak at the end of the tournament, though. I said that the Hornets were the 9th champion, but they're not. They're the 8th. I'd forgot we lost 2 years to.
Yeah, it was 2 years. It was 2
To
because
that.
we got one we maybe shouldn't have had.
We got very lucky to squeeze in the 2021.
The 21, but then we lost 21 and 22.
Yeah, I forgot that old Sturgeon had really tightened things up at the end of 2021. Yeah, it's one of those. Because of all that, we actually caught an Ironman up.
Yes.
Won them
Yeah.
all. But yeah, so the Hornets are our 8th champions, creeping towards our 10th edition. We'll need to
We'll
do
do something pretty special for
it.
number 10, won't we?
Yeah,
There's a good variance this year as well, and that's the one thing I kind of noticed when you put out the groups and stuff is like a really big variance. I think there's 7 Scottish teams,
Mhm.
and all the rest are either from around England or sort of these mercenary teams that get put together. But there was a really good variance, and it's a few new names that people maybe haven't come across or came up before. And the Lancashire Bombers, Sulphur Scorpions are just 2 that I see at the top of the list there. Dutch Mambas, Northant Titans wanting to come up, the Buckinghamshire Wolves again. There's a lot of variance, and also from ability and talent levels.
Yeah,
And you're
No.
still getting that, which makes it interesting for everybody to. It's not the same teams every year. It's going to be something slightly different.
it's good, and I think we're now in a stage where we've always got such a variety of international and UK teams that I've kind of moved away from potting that way. Now we just seed. So if you're a returning team, you'll get a better seed for this tournament. And so there is a kind of reward to coming back, essentially. But depending on how things go next year with Tampa and whenever they put the World Championship on, we might see Bold City return. That they had a great time.
Should maybe seed them. Not going to tell you how to run your tournament, but they should maybe seed them.
I mean, I should maybe, but if I stick to my rules I created this year, which I quite like, they'll be going in that bottom pot with everybody else, and we'll have a group of death again.
Correct. The fact that it was D for death was superb as well. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Like, because I really enjoyed Group B. The only kind of other HNC team was the Chargers. I didn't play them at all this year, obviously.
Mhm.
And then everyone else, I don't think I'd ever played for. I played against competitively.
See, that's fun.
I mean, I have played the Mercs before, but like that's a different team every time, so it doesn't really count. And then I think I played the Wolves maybe at an Ironman, but again, it's like Ironman's nuts. It's a different team half the time anyway, so
The
it was cool for me.
the Mercs in the Air Assault, I didn't realise this until 2 rounds of games in, had the same player playing for them. So
Oh, were they?
that was a fun chat, as our Aidan Marcelli had to have a little tap in the shoulder of the pick a team and stop playing for the other. And I think he stood and weighed up his options and went, all right, I'll play for Air Assault because they might win it all.
They might go all the way.
It's a good call.
Good call. So he played very well. Don't get me wrong, Aiden. Probably why people were coming over going, "Do you know that Aiden's playing for 2 teams?" I was like,
Yeah, if you're yeah, that's a compliment because if you're having a rubbish day, then they don't care.
"Yeah." Like if I'm rolling out at receiver for 2 teams, no one cares. No one's mentioning a thing.
Well, I mean, if it was you specifically, Youngie, they probably do care, but yes, I take the point. So yeah, Lowland Black bracket champions, Salford Scorpions defeated the Victoria Park Panthers 25-19. In the Barbarian bracket, the Grangemouth Broncos got past the Edinburgh Outlaws 26-0. And yeah, obviously in the final, the Glasgow Hornets 33, Silver Barbarians 24. I think was our highest scoring game of the weekend, but obviously they did have loads more time to do it. So
You know, it's I guess it is the highest scoring game, but if you do it per minute, it's definitely not.
it's definitely not, no.
The
Aerosol Silver Lions game
Yeah.
where you mentioned right at the start of this
34-26.
was 34-26.
Yeah.
In that short format, that's like bang, bang, that's scoring galore. Because normally I say, like in this format, you've 2 scores in the first half, 2 scores in the second half. You're doing well, but it just appeared here that like everyone just wanted to score. So,
And
that
to be
was a
fair,
good one.
as well, in the group, Kalikaku were scoring for fun.
Oh yeah,
28, 31, 42, and 35,
You know the funny thing
and
is,
37.
Kalikaku were scoring for fun in the group, but they equally looked just fine. Like they weren't blowing people away. They were just playing nice, confident football, pinging it about, making the completion.
Which was actually almost scarier. You know what I mean? Like if they're like pedal to the metal all the time when they're just chucking it deep and out athleting people, that's one thing. But they were like driving methodically to score and then turning the ball over and doing it again, over and over and over.
And that was this year. They looked great, and that was without Sabatini, who I think's one of the best quarterbacks I've seen at Flag and New Year. Like the way he moves, he's phenomenal. So I'm excited to see what they can do next year when they come back. I think that'll be fun. They're just a great fun bunch of lads to have around the tournament, to be fair.
They are.
Great attitude. The kind of attitude that you want at tournaments like this.
The whole tournament, apart from there were like 2 flare-ups, which we don't need to talk about particularly, but apart from 2 flare-ups, everything was done in a really sportsmanlike manner for the most part. The refereeing moaning was at an all-time low. Maybe that's because I wasn't playing, but you know, who knows? It was great. It was nice tournament. Went really well. I say that because I ran it, obviously, so I'm going to say that, but it did go very smoothly. But yet there's still room for improvement, so I'll do my usual and I'll ask the guys to send their improvables across, regardless of how crazy it is. And if it's doable, then we'll try and do it.
We'll have a bash.
So that's it.
Yeah, I think I refereed. Oh no, I refereed 2 games. No, 1 game. I refereed 1 game on the Sunday.
Did 1 game on the Sunday as well.
Did 1 game on the Sunday. Missed 1 call I should have made in hindsight that I thought about on the drive home, and made one that maybe wouldn't have been made one that I maybe wouldn't have made on a different day, but no one argued it, which means it was the right call. So yeah, I'll give myself a 1-all. A 1-all for my referee performance.
I like to try and avoid refereeing at my own tournaments whenever I can. I just don't like to be involved in the controversy, if possible.
Yeah, I think I was a bit like that when I was doing the Quake. It was like if I'm going to referee, I certainly don't want to be in the middle. You know, just because I don't care enough to be biased, but you want to avoid the potential of someone being like, well, we would have won if Bez didn't make a shit call.
Yeah.
What do you mean Alan wouldn't referee the Hornets in a final against the Barbarians? Unbelievable, Alan. Give us what we all want in life.
Give
Come
the
on.
people what they want.
I think that'd be the most conflicted I had ever.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was
Actually,
thinking.
that's what guaranteed neutrality. That's what it was.
Because it wouldn't guarantee that it would be Hornets, and it wouldn't. And I'm saying that would be the perfect opportunity for Alan to just roll this out. Right, lads, free and head on now. I got this.
I was unbelievably excited. There was too much stimulation during the semi-finals. Watching Nicky bomb it to Jules, on the other side I've got George hitting a keel and a crosser. I'm just very excited everywhere.
I enjoyed watching.
It was great. So I got all my excitement and my fandom out in the semi-finals, and I just sat there as a really happy neutral watching the final.
It was a very good final, and yeah, as we said, congratulations to Glasgow on their Flag and Year Championship. The Silver Lions, no doubt, will be back again, as hopefully will well everyone who had a great time. But
So it's interesting that just Dale has obviously always used Flag and New Year as the end of a cycle for Silver Lions, so it's always been like a kind of final time. So some of those guys might not be back in a silver uniform again.
yeah,
But both teams did themselves proud. But I think he's hoping to shift it that next year's the beginning of a cycle. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes, because then you'll still have all that raw talent, but they won't have had as much time to become a team yet and everything. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. But if anybody can make them a team, it's Dale Kirby. So
no doubt.
It'll be interesting to see how that pans out next year for them.
No doubt. And actually, Alan, look, that's what I was talking about the other day. That is Dale's library. Over my shoulder.
We've created a quote. Dale and I have put together all of the books that we've read. Most of them were Dale's recommendations originally. There's a couple on there that I've added, and one that Charlie Williams added, and we've kind of got that document there now for all flag coaching staff that go through GB, whether it be silver or anything, to access, and we recommend these books. And we've added a couple in from our sports psychologist Casper, actually, a couple that he recommended added to the list as well. So there's quite a comprehensive library. I'm more of an audio book person because I drive a huge amount, so it lets me listen. But there's the odd book I like to pick up and read as well. It's great.
Good. What have you got? Okay, here's one. Alan Young, what you're reading right now that you can recommend to the flag community?
You know, it's funny. Reading right now would not be a recommendation to the flag community, because I decided for the first time in about 5 years I'd listen to some fiction. Just for a change, so I'm listening to the back catalogue of Sherlock Holmes read by Stephen Fry.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay.
But the book I would always recommend, the two books I would always recommend because I'm copping out, loved Legacy by James Kerr. I've mentioned it, and I'm sure Bez has got it on his shelf there. Legacy by James
I haven't reached
Kerr,
it, but it is there, yeah.
fantastic. And the Every Moment Matters, and I think it's John O'Sullivan. Every Moment Matters is fantastic, and it's one I've recommended to the Scoff coaches as well. And yeah, it's terrific. Anybody that wants to coach, they should read Every Moment Matters before they do it. I wish I had. I'd made less mistakes.
Good. And yeah, I think like on our chat with Dale, it was Legacy and and I'm sure all of the Silver Lines. Let's say it together. The Long Win was also on the on the.
Pete Carroll's Long Win is a good one. But it's a better book than an audiobook. I will say there's some stupid annoying audio stuff in the audiobook that irritates me.
Okay.
It's one I'd recommend.
Yeah, Kath Bishop, former GB.
Oh, Kath Bishop, Long Win. Sorry, Pete Carroll's is Win Forever.
Yes, Win Forever is Pete Carroll. Yeah.
The Long Win is such a good book. I recommended it to my head teacher at school because
it's just a class book for it anyway. But,
yeah, and he read it and enjoyed it as well. So it's
yeah, she's an amazing woman. And I guess for a slightly crowbarred segue on the subject of amazing women, this weekend is the return of the Women's Flag Football League after the Christmas New Year break. After storm delays and inclement weather, we are going to be back in 3 locations across the land. So the HNC for game day 4 is going to split in 2. The Manchester Titans Bees are going to host obviously themselves with the Snowcats, Titans and Giants, while in East Kilbride, the Pirates Red, Pirates Black, Huskies and Samurai will get together for an enjoyable Sunday. But in the MS, for I think the last time of the season, we're all getting together for one massive party
15
hosted
games
by Nottingham.
That's wild.
So yeah, that is going to be, and there's some goodies in there. Yeah, 15 games across the way. I think that's Saturday, and then and so is Manchester. I think is Saturday, whereas East Kilbride is Sunday.
Yeah, Pirates are hosting on the Sunday.
Pirates are hosting on the Sunday. Fantastic. There are, as well as exciting games of the week, there are a couple, I think, of clinching scenarios.
Bez, have you
Already.
got your spreadsheet out, mate?
I haven't got the
You
spreadsheet.
not got that far yet?
I
Man.
haven't typed them up.
Right, okay.
Cougars and Panthers. Obviously, they play each other, but if they win all their games, locked in.
Wouldn't you even think they need to win all their games?
I actually think if they both go 2-1, either way,
Yeah,
if they go 2-1, they're both in. Sorry. And the Pirates, Black, if they win both their games, they are in. Or if either Manchester or Sheffield, if the 4 or 5 teams lose like single game and they play each other, they're in. And I think East Kilbride, if they win both, they can actually secure the 1 seed if Aberdeen lose both games.
yeah.
And also Leeds lose both. So if Leeds were to lose to both East Kilbride Pirates teams, I don't think they can catch the Black, and obviously Aberdeen need to lose as well. So the Black could go in with nothing to play for on the final day. I know they will play, and they will play hard, but yeah, they could sew up the 1 seed.
Well, they're not going to do a Kansas City Chiefs and just rest all their best players in the last game day to mess up everybody else to then let another team in to a whole NFL scenario, no?
Only because they don't have enough players to do that. I think.
Oh, that is true, actually.
Well,
There's
yes,
2 teams now,
that's
actually.
it. 2 teams, small squads. So a quick reminder of where we are in the HNC. The Pirates Black are 8-0 undefeated. The Snowcats currently sit in 2nd place. Slightly biased take incoming. The good luck. The feel good story of the season so far. At 5-2, 4-2 in 3rd are the Samurai. At 4-2-1 are the Sheffield Giants. At 3-3-1 in 5th, just on the outside looking in, the Manchester Titans. The Titans Bees are below them at 2-5. Huskies at 1-5, with the Pirates Red at 0-8. Whereas in the MSC, the Cougars lead the way currently on net points per game by 0.4 of a point per game. It's the Coventry Cougars at 8-0, with the Panthers behind them at 9-0. The Amazons are in 3rd at 7-3-1. The Flame at 6-4 round out your playoff spot. What happens then? 5th place, Leicester Huntsmen. They are 6-5, so they are still in with a shout of sneaking in at the bottom there. The rookie Titan Birmingham Lions, 2-5-1. They're having a good start to their long-awaited return. The Spears are 2-6. The Nottingham Gold are 1-9, and the Nottingham Green are 0-9. It's been fun so far. 15 more games in that conference.
It's interesting. There's a bit of a divide in both conferences. Like if you look at the winning percentage, the 2 Coventry teams are head and shoulders above everything else that's there. But I'm waiting for the Birmingham Lions. The game of the week I'm looking forward to is actually the Lions and the Huntsmen. I know that they've played already, but the Lions are a better team than this record suggests. Unless they're not taking it seriously. Like, unless they're just having a mess about and they're like, oh, let's just go have fun as essentially the GB national team, but playing on flag instead of contact. If they're not taking it seriously, then yeah, sure, they'll just mosey on at this. But I just don't feel like they're the kind of people that want to continue this kind of losing record. And I feel like a statement win against the Huntsmen, and the Huntsmen maybe losing a couple of games, could really swing things back. Because they've got 3 games in hand over the Huntsmen and 2 games in hand over the Flame.
And also in their final set of games, they go Spears, Gold and Green.
So this weekend matters. Like, I mean, obviously all weekends matters, but this weekend's huge for the Lions. They need to turn up. They need to play near their capability, or we're going to spend really one of the most talent-rich rosters in football is not going to be going to the playoffs.
Or they're doing it on purpose, Alan, to get a lower seed, to get a tougher team at the start, and then be the underdog story
Well,
that
at the
goes on
moment,
to
they're
win.
not even, they need to win now to get their 4. So
Well, I wrote
this
that down in my
weekend,
notepad. I wrote down Snowcats, which we'll get to, and I wrote down Lions need to win for playoffs, tough games, Huntsman, Flames, Spears, Amazons all around them. That
Yeah.
was my
So-
only thing I wrote down in my notepad.
yeah,
I think you're
to
right,
win,
Alan.
they have to win the Huntsman's game. They probably have to win the Flame game as well, to be honest.
They probably do, and I might have my schedule mixed up, but I think they play the Huntsman first, and if they lose that, then I
Probably
think
over.
Probably
they're
done at that.
almost mathematically out.
I think they are out at that point. On the head-to-head, they won't be able to get back above the Huntsman.
Yeah,
And even then, the Huntsmen are 5th. So they not even need to get over them. They need to get over the Amazons as
above.
well.
They have to win out this weekend.
but it's just one of these things. If they go into that weekend and start turning around, you could see a real ascension from the Birmingham Lions here. And at the first game day they played, I think they were missing their offensive coordinator Kenny Bello and a couple of other players who were out at the World Club Championship. As were the Cougars, to be fair, but the Birmingham seemed to really miss those players. So I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued for that game. And if it wasn't so far away, I'd be tempted to go and watch.
Like, if they go 6-1 over their final 7 games, that would put them 8-6-1, right?
Yeah.
Which currently, the Amazons in 3rd have got 7 wins. They're probably not going to lose enough, so they're probably out of reach. The Flame are 6-4, so that's you need to beat them to keep them on 6, and you need to beat the Huntsmen to get above them, and then you need to win out last week of the season, and beat the Spears, and then you could maybe drop one.
But it's doable.
But it's not impossible.
It's
but like, if they're gonna, I mean, what a turnaround to suddenly win off 6 wins out of 7 games to make the playoffs. You're coming in as the hottest team in the league, other than anyone who's undefeated, just about.
And that's the thing. This is why I think their game in the Huntsman's, it's the Jenga piece of their season, if you will. It's if that brick falls,
Last chance saloon.
Momentum carry the rest. Because they do have some of the individual talent. It's just them becoming a team at flag football rather than contact football. That's the question. Sorry, Tree, that I've stole your game. I didn't realise that was your
No
pick.
problem whatsoever. Your insight is probably better than mine. Mine's was just like, beat teams, do well, make playoffs. Lose, you're out. So your insight was much more purposeful than mine. In my Snowcats comment, all I wrote was any game big for playoff push, if they want to get in. So that's my analysis, Alan. It was very vague.
No, but it's right though that the Snowcats, every single game now, and maybe this is quite negative thinking, but I feel like they've had quite a good run, 5-2. They've done well to be there. They've had some sneaky tight wins. Their route to the playoff looks solid when you look at the table, but we all know the Giants and the Titans are very capable and seasoned teams. So any win that they can get out of these really does help their playoff hunt.
If they can. So looking at just kind of the table and the history, they'll need a win on the last day against the Red. We know that. They definitely need the win against the Titans Bees. Their other remaining games are Pirates Black, Giants, and Titans.
I think the thing to remember is that when you're doing your tabulations, Bez, the HNC will only have 12 played games as opposed to what should have been 14.
It will. So even if they go 2-3 on that, we say the historic playoff teams they lose to and the historic teams on the outside they beat, that would put them at 7-5.
Yeah.
And as someone who is a member of that club, I'll say if you'd given us 7-5, if you'd offered that team 7-5 in October, it would have been where do we sign? But and there's a genuine prospect that could lead to a matchup with one of those commentary teams, which is crazy to think about.
But that's the thing, though. I don't think they. Well, now, so yes, going into the league at the start of it, yes, 7-5. Let's all clap our hands. Well done, Aberdeen. Terrific. But that's not where we're at. They're 5-2. 7-5 would now be a slightly deflating finish.
It would be a step down. And
And it would most likely lead to a loss to a Coventry team in the first round, which I don't think Scott, and particularly their captain Heather, is really, that's what they're thinking, is we won't have to go down and lose to the Coventry in the first round. I think they'd like to go and play a team that they could really
have a go at,
like the other teams in the MSC. So if they can somehow make that 3-2 instead of 2-3,
it's a big change.
Huge change.
Yeah, and they're gonna, they're playing the teams that are chasing them. It's not.
It's in their hands.
It's not like the opportunity's not there.
Very exciting game day. Again, I'd quite like to see it, but I don't have the time of my life to drive to Manchester to watch it.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, I think the game of the week that I had down was the Giants and the Titans. They tied in the first leg. So this one is not only for the all-important win because they're only a half game apart, but it's also for the tiebreak and being 4 and 5.
Spot. That'd be interesting.
That's one of those things that winning that is basically winning. It's a game and a half win because even if you end up tied on record, you'll get the leg up.
I do feel like it's one of those wins, and if Titans do lose to the Giants, they're going to be outside the playoffs looking in for the first time in my memory.
And then that'll be tight. And obviously they have played each other for years. They know each other very well. So yeah, I think that was the one that I circled on my notebook earlier on. And of course, we can't get quite this far in without having a bit of a look at the only battle of the two teams that have yet to lose a game with a combined record of 17-0. The Battle of Coventry will commence on Saturday.
And so obviously I made the schedule, secrets out. Because of Cougars' bye and they're trying to get every day a hosting thing, it's ended up that the Cougars and the Panthers will play each other in back-to-back weeks.
They will.
So the first one's important, but you kind of want to try and win, well, maybe holding something back if you can. Just keep a little something off the field. I mean, we've watched Cougars win 9 nationals, so there's not much. You don't think there's much new that they'll have in their tank, but they've always got something.
They've always got something. Yeah.
Always get something.
So they are and it's the third game, I think. It's the third game for both teams. So
then
they'll be warm. They'll be through it. Cougars
maybe not warm in January, Bez, but I mean performance terms, warm.
You say that. It was like 5 degrees on Saturday. It was fine.
Mild for this time of year.
That's 20 degrees warmer than it was the weekend before. So it's tropical. Yeah, Cougars will have gone through the two London teams, the Flame and the Amazons. The Panthers will have gone through the two Nottingham teams, the Gold and the Green.
No disrespect to Nottingham, but those are two very different journeys to that key match.
They are different schedules. However, I wouldn't put any money on that still being a 100%. I wouldn't put money on anything other than that being a 100% battle in terms of record. Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, a lot of good games this weekend. I think it'll be interesting to see the results coming through. I am going along to the Pirates game day because, well, my good lady wife is injured. She wants to go and cheer on her Pirate Red teammates and try and just give them as much encouragement from the sideline as she can as they battle out with the Huskies, which will be a fun one. In fact, I think the Huskies to battle out with.
Yep.
No, yeah. I started to lose my mind there.
No. The Pirates Red will play the Samurai and the Huskies. The Pirates Black will play the Huskies and the Samurai. No. Those 4 teams.
She's a lunatic. She wanted to go and watch them down in December after she'd fractured her ankle. And I'm like, but Claire, it's only been like 3 weeks since you did it. It'll be a lot of pain. You can't walk about the house. I've had to get you a bag to carry your meals from the kitchen to the living room so that you can do it and go on your crutches. And finally, a few days out, she's like, yeah, you're right. I can't do it. But she definitely wants to go and support them, and they voted her captain this year. So she's devastated to not be out there with them. But
in solidarity with Claire, I once had a very similar injury to what Claire has while living in a second floor flat, and it drove me nuts. So, like, the opportunity to get out and go see your pals and cheer them on, I fully relate to, because there was no lift in that building. So if I wanted to go out, I was going up and down the stairs.
It's same in the house. She was sliding up the stairs backwards and stuff like that. A variety of techniques have been tried for get up and down the stairs. But to be fair, she's obviously still recovering. But she can get about a bit quicker now. Folk would have seen it flagging New Year at the weekend.
Yeah, she was on good form at the weekend. So
although it's funny, she was sitting down so much at the weekend that somebody didn't realise until at the end of Sunday that she had a massive boot on.
A massive min boot on.
But she was enjoying seeing everybody because the only person she's really spent time with is me, and we all know that there's only so much of that you can do.
So I guess, Alan, if I had to put you on the spot for your final four from each conference.
Oh, final four, jeez, right, okay, that's interesting. Pirates,
yeah,
top. I think I'll back the Samurai to nip past Aberdeen and put them into third, and the Giants will take fourth. That's my prediction. I think Manchester will be left out this year. I just don't think. I don't know. Something doesn't quite seem right about them. And I always rate the Giants. They always perform well. They ended up in the semi-final last year, despite not really having a team that anybody thought anything particular of. But an experienced quarterback could really keep you in a game. In the South, as boring as it is, I think it'll be the four teams that are currently top four.
So that's the Cougars, the Panthers, the Amazons, and the Flame.
Yeah, as much as I would love the kind of, well, not love, I'm not rooting for it as such, but I could see Birmingham going on a 6-game tear. I could see it. I just think it's mathematically unlikely. The two London teams are very good. The two Coventry teams are very good. It'll be interesting. It'll be really, really interesting. I think what will be more interesting is how many of each of these teams progress. Because those two Coventry teams are solid. It'll be interesting to see if Leeds could beat Amazons to, assuming my prediction is correct, if Leeds could beat the Amazons to get to the semi-finals, or if we'll have a semi-finals with 3 MSC and just the Pirates Black from the HMC.
Ah, right, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I see.
It'll be interesting to see if there's a dominant conference or if it's balanced.
So
I'm hoping for 2 from each because
it's
that mixed match where it's HNC and MSC the whole way through.
Is it seeded from the semi-finals, Alan, or how is it going from the semis?
No, so it's semi-final. There's a set bracket.
It's a set bracket.
Document through. I tried to look in a way to try and guarantee it going across, but there's no way to guarantee it. So for the sake of equity and transparency, I've just went with a fixed bracket.
That makes sense.
So we go through.
Yeah, 1v4, 2v3, 2v3, 1v4, and then game 1 versus game 2, game 3 versus game 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, our finals day, quarterfinals, semis,
Bez
plate
putting that
semis.
into some nice graphics at some point.
Oh yeah, I'll work something out. Got to make sure that my Adobe subscription get my money's worth.
What do you mean you're not still using Andy Keith's?
So we only wheel Andy out for internationals these days. So when it really matters, no, that's not the case. But yeah, we if it looks too good to be true, Andy made it. If it looks like I made it, I made it.
Yeah, it's when it hits the DMs and the comments like this graphic's wrong. It's like don't worry, it was Bez. Don't worry about
it. Yeah.
I've just my brains went back to the women's league. I do feel like we're careering towards a repeat of last year's final, Pirates versus Cougars.
Far away from agreeing with you there.
Pirates have got the most potent offense, 347 points scored across 8 games, but the Cougars' defense is incredibly stingy. Only 12 points.
12
in 8 games, averaging a conceding of 1.5 per.
It's actually minging, isn't it?
It's incredible, and it's one of those things that it's the football adage. We're going to see possibly the best offense in the league versus the best defense in the final if it goes that way, and I'm here for it. I think it'll be fantastic.
And to be fair, the number 2 defense in the league
And the number 2
is held by the Pirates back at 4.9.
The Cougars, interestingly now, obviously the Cougars missed game day 1, but they're the third highest scoring offense in the league, points per game, 32.4.
Yeah,
but equally,
that Panthers offense is pretty powerful as well.
It's decent. I will say that the Cougars did that despite missing their quarterback for the first game day as well.
As that yeah. The I know it was done due to the kind of the bye and all that kind of thing, but having the Coventry battle at the end of the season is particularly delicious.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's battling for that number 1 seed, which could matter long run, because I think the number 2 seed could. I need to check the brackets, but I think obviously they'll run into the Pirates before the number 1 seed, the way that it's set out.
Yeah, they will. It'd be a potential semi-final.
So you're looking for Pirates to win, they'll have to go through Coventry times
1
2.
of them. Yeah. You have if you want to win a national championship, you potentially have to beat both Coventry teams.
Yeah, which is going to be impressive because they're both very capable. Be good matches.
Absolutely, and we will
be there for it, Bez.
We will be there for it, and we will reconvene next week to tell you how this weekend went. We'll let you know who has clinched playoff spots, who's clinched number 1 seeds, if possible. Alan and I will be in constant contact, no doubt, ahead of the official chart show next week. And
I'll have some. I won't be on your pod next week, but I'll have some scoff updates that you can share with people.
Oh, spicy.
Scoff Corner will be back.
Scuff Corner.
Scoff Corner, I think, is the only. I think Scoff Corner might be the only one, or just about the only regular feature that doesn't have a jingle. So maybe
it's almost like we could get. There's AI technology, Bez. We could cross still game with Scoff Corner. If anyone gets that reference from Scotland, you know the reference of the whole Scottish Corner thing.
It's amazing to me the number of first and second year kids that have seen Still Game. I'm like, you're 11. How are you understanding the banter of Still Game? But they do. They love it. They absolutely love it. So I think you're at a winner.
It's when you get the curse word, good guy. And I do know,
not the classroom. Bez,
I do know that there's a surprising amount of the junior Scoff kids that do listen in. So we'll just go with curse word, good guy for now.
Oh, it's true, actually. Yeah, I went to say as well, Bez, I got a really nice message from part of the Scoff community as well on our Facebook page. So thanks to that person as well. Just well, I remember. It's very polite of them to send a lovely message.
Cool. But yes, we'll reconvene next week. We'll have all of the WFFL output for you. We'll have the official chart show. We'll have some of all of the news and views from around the league, and potentially little teaser here, because it might not be next week, but some very, very special guests. So thank you, Alan, for joining us again. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Cheers, Alan.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, Tree. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Bez. I'll speak to you shortly, no doubt.
No doubt. And thank you to you guys for listening. Thank you to everyone who came up to say hello over the weekend. It was an absolute pleasure. We will see you again soon. That is the way we HN see it.